Hey, Brent Ports here at TopVelocity.net. I wanted to go over some of the core lifts of the TopVelocity programs, which are the Olympic lifts. Why we do the Olympic lifts. I know a lot of people aren't really familiar with them, and they try to find alternatives around them. And of course, we do a lot of other lifts, a lot of the power lifts, a lot of peripheral exercises. But these are our core lifts, and why we do them is because they put a lot of demand on an efficient kinetic chain. And what that means is your central nervous system that controls all your movements. It's the brain behind how you move and how your body stabilizes and balances you, is really working extremely hard with the Olympic lifts as opposed to simpler lifts like, say, deadlifts, like a trap bar deadlift. That's more of a simple, just hinging in one segment of your body to perform the movement. That's not going to put a big challenge on your central nervous system to control that movement because it's just in a very isolated segment of your body. The Olympic lifts, they're going to tap into everything. The ankle or dorsiflexion is going to be working just as hard as the hip flexion or hip extension or the hip segment. Also too, when you're driving the bar from the ground up, when you rack, your upper body has to get in position to receive the bar. So it puts a high demand on stability through the whole body and mobility through the whole body. That's why when you look at Olympic lifters, they are highly mobile, more than the average public. And they're not only that, they're very strong and very powerful. There was that study that showed that out of the powerlifting and sprinting, Olympic lifting not only was better at building power, but it was also better at building strength as well because of what it's doing, not just to the muscular system, but the central nervous system. So, and you got to look at what we're doing this for. If we're doing this for the skill of pitching or throwing or hitting, these are highly complex movements that demand a lot of work and a lot of efficiencies from the central nervous system. So this is the only way in the weight room to truly train that central nervous system to be able to move in these complex movements very efficiently and very effectively. So, for example, if I just took you through it, like if we're doing a hang clean, okay? When I'm in just the hang position, I'm going to use or implement triple extension, which is going to apply force through the ankle, force through the knees, force through the hips. Then my upper body has to control the bar so it then can receive the bar into the upper chest position to rack the bar. So every joint is working extremely hard to perform the movement, and that's why it puts a real fatigue, or it really isolates and breaks down the central nervous system because of the complexities that is in the lifts when you're performing lifts. So these are not lifts that you should find alternatives for. There really isn't an alternative for it in the weight room. These are lifts that are great core lifts to highly dynamic skills like throwing, hitting, and pitching. So this is why it's a core to the TopVelocity programs, and it will always be a core to the TopVelocity programs. And all the other lifts are just there to support the components that really build dynamic athletes, which typically are elite Olympic lifters or high velocity pitchers or powerful hitters. And these lifts are great in supporting and developing those athletes. Yeah, you can build an Olympic or an elite, complex, skilled hitter, pitcher, athlete without these lifts, but you're going to be relying a lot on genetics and not as much on the performance enhancement in the training. This is really probably one of the best performance enhancement tools for the highly dynamic, explosive athletes. So, and also too, I think a lot of people try to say that the alternative to Olympic lifts is power. It's not really, a lift that trains that or an exercise that trains power is not really an alternative. It is a component of the Olympic lifts. It does develop power, but more importantly, it develops a more efficient, dynamic kinetic chain by upgrading the central nervous system's ability to control and move explosively. So I hope that helps you understanding why we use the Olympic lifts. If you have any other questions on it, and there's a lot of questions on injury and all that, I'd love to answer those questions. You'll be happy to know that there isn't a lot of injury in Olympic lifting when supervised. But if you have those questions, please reach out to me. I'd be glad to answer them for you.